Number 1. By faking a personality test, you are in self-denial. The INFJ is one of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types, making up roughly 1 to 2% of the population. INFJ is an acronym which stands for Introversion, Intuition, Feeling, and Judging. These 4 core characteristics describe the cognitive functions INFJs use the most to navigate through life. Quote-unquote, how to get the INFJ test result is something many people are searching for on Google, and I'm quite shocked actually. In this video, I will discuss 3 reasons why it's wrong to fake a personality test. Listen to them all to avoid sabotaging yourself. Self-denial is what faking a personality test is. You deliberately deny yourself any insight in how your personality works. You deny who you are as a person. All that to be able to falsely convince others that you are an INFJ. Not yourself, because you already know the truth. In a way, it's understandable. The INFJ's enigmatic and contradictory nature makes them really stand out on a personality trait level, besides just their sheer rareness based on their prevalence in society. I can see that this image of the INFJ can be quite alluring. Together with the increased attention and adoration the INFJ has gotten over the past few years, I would say it's the most popular MBTI personality type on the internet at the moment. But if it's that feeling of being special, rare, or self-esteem that you're after, why not find that within yourself, whatever personality type you are? You can't fake needs. I mean, you can fake it all you want by telling others that you're an INFJ and even try to act like one in public. You might force yourself to be alone all the time like an introvert. But is that truly what you need? You might force yourself to think only about existential matters. But can you do that without going insane? You might force yourself to be focused non-stop on the needs of others. But can you do that without exhausting yourself? Don't get me wrong. I do think it's beneficial for our development to flirt with traits that aren't integral to our personality. For instance, the introvert that joins a Toastmasters group to learn how to speak in public, or an extrovert that plans to read a book on a Friday night once a month to have some alone time. This is how you expand beyond your current capacities. But the big difference here is understanding how your personality works and standing firmly into your personality strengths with one leg on first base while exploring things outside of your comfort zone, second base, with your other leg. However, to deny that authentic core personality and try to do a 180-degree turn by forcing yourself to act like your polar opposite personality doesn't make any sense. Because at the end of the day, you can't fake your own needs that come forth out of your personality type. Your true needs based on who you are will always be there, just underneath the surface of that facade. For example, I could be wanting to be a fish. I can become better at holding my breath for longer periods of time while I'm underwater. For example, me as an introvert going to social gatherings. But I'll never be able to breathe underwater on my own. For example, like extroverts do in social situations. Because as a human, I need to breathe air for oxygen. Personality is deeper than MBTI labels. Often it is forgotten, but at the end of the day, the MBTI is just a descriptive tool for understanding the basic tendencies of our personalities. It is no absolute truth, nor are the results set in stone. The different types/labels can be helpful, but I think we are treading into dangerous waters when we try to base our deep identity on such shallow labels. The labels themselves are not what a personality is. For example, before I knew my personality type could be labeled as INFJ, I was already operating as one in my life. Matter of fact, if I never had come across MBTI in my entire life, my needs, traits, and behavior would still fall into the INFJ category without my awareness. Your personality is so much deeper than just 4 letters and a few pages of words can describe. You might fall into a certain MBTI personality category that is very common, but you still are a unique expression of that personality type and far more. There's no one on this planet that is exactly like you, even if someone would be the same MBTI personality type. It is all about owning who you are and developing yourself that you can become a whole, differentiated, and self-actualized person. Again, these MBTI personality types can be helpful in a descriptive way, but don't let them define you. Even if you were honestly an INFJ according to MBTI, I would go as far to say that it would also be self-denial if you would take that label too seriously, because it can never substitute who you are. Spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle said it best with an analogy. Let's say you're traveling to the beautiful city of Rome. A few miles before you reach Rome, you see a beautiful signpost saying Rome, 50 miles ahead. Instead of driving to Rome, you now get out of your car to study the signpost from every angle. You glance at the signpost the whole day. You take pictures of yourself with the signpost. You have arguments about the signpost with others when they say it stinks. You're completely obsessed now with the signpost, instead of driving just a few more miles to visit the real Rome. Signposts, just like personality labels, show directions or give us information, but they aren't the things they point towards. There comes a time that you need to let them go to reach the destination you are truly heading towards, yourself. Number 2. By faking a personality test, you hamper your own growth. Personality tests are tools that are used to gain insight in the different personality traits you possess. By gaining understanding of who you are, you become more conscious of your strengths and weaknesses, virtues and vices, and what are the best ways to apply your unique mixture of traits. For instance, knowing that you score highly on the trait openness of the Big 5 personality test, you'll realize that it would suit your personality much better to pursue a creative career, or one in a field where you'll be dealing with a lot of novel and intellectual ideas, like science. When you discover that you are very much introverted and you would like to expand your personality, you might choose to expose yourself more to social situations in which you can train your social skills and expand your extroverted side more to your own future social benefit. When you honestly answer the questions on a personality test, it can be a genuine snapshot of your personality. You can use that to your advantage to double down on your natural strengths and mitigate your so-called weaknesses. True growth equals brutal honesty. True growth requires brutal honesty. You'll need to take a good look at yourself and be absolutely honest about the person you are at that given moment. You might not like what you see, but it doesn't mean you can't change. Will you be able to become the complete polar opposite of your current personality type if you want to? Perhaps not, but there's a lot of room for growth. However, to know in which way you want/need to grow, you'll need to know where you are and who you are. Faking a personality test because you desire to be labeled in a certain way is therefore pure self-sabotage.
You didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word.
Okay, so after manipulating your test answers, now your MBTI personality type result is INFJ, the precious angelic indigo star child label you hold so dearly. Now what? Does that provide insight into your true personality? Can you use that to develop your character? Were all of those rhetorical questions? In case you're still confused, yes, they were. You might be able to pacify the discontentment around who you are in these subreddits for a little while with that fake INFJ persona you crafted and want others to worship so much, but 5 years from now, you'll still be that same person you are so discontent with, more or less, instead of closer to the true person you are capable of being and which you would be truly proud of, if you were honest with yourself. Number 3. By faking a personality test, you distort the image others have of you. By faking a personality test and portraying to the world that you are a different person than you actually are distorts the image others have of you. By doing that, you also lower the chance that you'll get your needs met in the relationships you have. Think about it. You might actually be a sensing MBTI type who pays a lot of attention to physical reality and what can be experienced through all of the senses. As a sensing type, you are predominantly focused on facts and details. This preference lives inside you, despite you pretending to be an INFJ. Now, because your friends think you're an INFJ or an intuitive type, who are known to like abstract theories and symbolism, you find yourself always in existential conversations about spirituality and psychology, etc. Conversations you actually hate. Perhaps not only because they think you like it, but because they themselves like it as well. You probably attracted the same personality types as friends you are pretending to be. This is only one example of the possible unmet needs. The mask will slip sooner or later. In the long run, those people close to you see through that facade anyway. By interacting with you personally, they'll get a good look into what you truly like and dislike. They'll see what your true needs are, because one can't pretend forever. You have certain needs that must be met. Trying to fool others is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Sooner or later, your arm muscles will fatigue and need some rest from all that strain you put on them by holding that beach ball below the water surface. That's when the real you shows its face. It's inevitable. Deep down, you already know it is. The solution to the problem of pretending to be someone or something you're not is self-honesty. Self-honesty is the doorway into self-acceptance. Probably most true INFJs went through a rough time growing up because their nature was often misunderstood. INFJs are among those personality types that most likely struggled a lot trying to find a way to fit in somewhere in society. They most likely started off pretending to be something they're not to finally be accepted by their social environment and society at large. Speaking personally, I was pretty good at taking on roles that I thought others expected from me by being pleasing, friendly, and extremely forgiving. It even got me acceptance by a lot of the people around me. The irony, however, was that I still didn't feel accepted, because inside I knew this wasn't the real me others were accepting, but just some roles I knew how to play. Inside, I knew I wasn't accepting myself. You see, taking on a rare personality label like INFJ isn't going to solve anything. Only when I started to listen to myself, things started to change for the better. Perhaps many INFJs are so alluring because they're often forced into radical self-honesty and self-acceptance because their facade becomes unbearable. Often, mental illnesses like burnout or anxiety put them on a fast track to authenticity. Perhaps it is the unapologetic authenticity of the matured INFJ that gives them their charm. Well, in that case, the good news is that you can reach that level too, no matter what personality type you are. Keep growing, learning, and expressing yourself and become a self-actualized person, because aren't they the rarest of all?